Well, hello and welcome to our reading of Homer. We're reading Odyssey Book 6. We're up to line 289, and at this stage Nausikaa has replied to Odysseus, and she's a little bit worried about being seen with him in public, so she's going to give him some instructions as to what he's going to do, and also to give him some advice on what to do when he gets to the palace of Alkinous. So we begin with Xene su de hoc emethen xunie epos, ofratakis dipempes kai nostoio tukes parapatros emoio. So Xene, vocative, O stranger, you, xunie, from xunhiemi, it's to understand the word from me quickly. So she's saying something like, pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Offra, so that, takista, most quickly, two cases, the verb here from Truncano, you might meet with an escort and a return home from my father, Patros Emoio. Deis, now this is from dao, it's that verb of learning. This is probably the subjunctive here for the future. From the root da'o, you will learn, but probably you will find as you go along. So you will find the resplendent grove of poplars, this is the agaron of Athena, near the path. So as we're going along, you'll come across, you'll discover, you will find this resplendent grove of poplars of Athena near the path, and in it is a crane, a spring is flowing, and around it a lemon, a meadow. And there, the temenos, now the temenos is sort of something like a park, or it's a place which is cut off, it's connected with temno to cut, it's a sort of private place, almost perhaps a park. You will see the temenos of my father, and a loe, which is an orchard, and it's described as blooming, literally having bloomed. So we might say in bloom, since it's a perfect participle from thallo. So this is a feminine noun, so we get the feminine participle here. We get toson apoptolios hoson tegegone boiesas. We get toson and hoson. It is as far from the city as or someone would be heard making a noise, making a cry. So it's as far from the city as one can make oneself heard by a shout, by esas. And there, kathizomenos, sitting there. Now again, we're going to get lots of these infinitives for imperatives. It's almost as though she was saying it is necessary for you to do something, and we simply get infinitives. So there, remain there chronon for a time, ace hoc plus the subjunctive, until we, so we get ace hoc ken plus subjunctive, until we might go astude, we get astu plus the de ending to, in the direction of, or to, until we might go to the city and we might reach here, I think, the houses of my father, from Hic Naamai. Arta epain hemias elpe potidomat affixi. But when, this is the second person here, you might expect, from elpisdo. It often has the sense more of expect than hope in Homeric Greek. So, but when you expect that we, affixi, infinitive, to have arrived, poti for pros, at the house, plural for singular, at that time, more infinitives for imperatives. So imen from Amy Ibo, at that time go into the city of the Phaeacians and make inquiry of the houses of my great-hearted father Alkinous. Rea de arignot esti, for these houses, the domata, so they are easily recognisable. So there's an alpha elided here, agreeing with the domata, and you see the gno root in here, so they're easily recognisable, and an paios hages aton nepios, so it's neuter plural with esti, so they're easily recognisable, and even a paios nepios. Now nepios normally is used to refer to a young child, so a baby, so even a young child would lead you there, from hegeomai. Umen gati e kota toisi tetuktai domata Phaeacon. For the houses of the Phaeacians, that's the subject here, neuter plural singular verb, have been made not in any way resembling them. So in other words, they're very different from the houses of the rest of the Phaeacians. Such is the house of Alkinous. So we get a neuter plural singular verb. So the houses of the Phaeacians are not built in any way resembling them, such as the house of Alkinous. The heros here, this is probably a contracted genitive from heros, because it has to agree with Alkinous here, so it's probably a genitive here. But when whenever hopot an sedomoi kekuthosi kai aule, but when the house, literally the houses and courtyard, when they cover you, so when you've gone inside the houses and the courtyard and they've provided shelter for you, really, then oka mala, line this up here, okamala megaroyo de el themen. Now again, infinitive for imperative, so go through, very quickly, go through the megaron, the hall, offer an hikai, until you come to my mother. Heide hastai ep escare en puros algae. For she, now this is from Hamai, to sit. So she is sitting at the hearth in the algae, in the brightness of the fire, so in the light of the fire. Alakates strophos haliporthura. So she's turning the alakata is the yarn, which is put on a distaff. So this here is referring to the yarn, the woolen yarn. This is from strophao. Now in epic we get verbs like strepho, we get these alternative forms of strophao. We'll see some other examples of this kind of structure in a minute. So she's turning the yarn, which is porphyra, which is purple from the sea. So it's using this dye, the murex. So the sea purpled yarn. And then we get this lovely little phrase here, thalma idestai. Homer uses this one. He doesn't overdo it, he doesn't overwork this particular expression, but you will see it in various places in Homer. It means a marvel to behold, a marvel to see. It's a lovely little expression in Homer. Kioni keklimene. Literally having reclined on a kion's a pillar. So she's leaning against a pillar. Demoai dehoi heat opis then. Now this is from that Hamai again. And This is, although we've got an alpha here, this is another example of this. It's really heintai, and the nu is written as an alpha. It's a sonnet nu written as an alpha. You see this very commonly in Homer. You'll see it also in Herodotus in the Ionic dialect. So the servants are sitting opposite hoi to her for aute. So heitai for hentai, and there is the throne of my father, poti kekletai. Well, it reclines beside aute, her. So the throne of the father is reclining beside her. To hoge oin potasde, and something like at that place, I think here for the toe, he in fact is sitting, or perhaps it could be referring to the throne. So he is in fact, yeah, it probably refers back to the thronos. So he in fact is sitting on it. Just line this up again. He in fact is sitting on it, oinopatasde, drinking his wine, Athanatos hos, like an immortal. Paramepsamenos, bypassing him. So amebo is to exchange or to do one thing for another. So it's moving past him, bypassing him. Another infinitive for imperative. So literally throw, or perhaps place, your hands on the knees of our mother, so hence my mother, royal plural. Hinonostimon hema idei, chiron carpalimos. In order that you might see the day of your return home, rejoicing or happily, and you might see it quickly. Ekaimala telothenesi, even if you are from very far away, from mala telothen, even if you're very far away. Eikentoi kene gefila phoniase eni thumo, and if she thinks good things in her heart, possibly just ethic dative here, or could be thinks good things for you in her heart, toi for soy. El pare toi, and again this probably is toi for soy, there is then afterwards there is a hope for you to see your philus, your loved ones, and to come to your well-built house and into your ancestral land. Hos ara phones imasen mastigi phone, and thus speaking, this is from the verb himasso, it's to whip or to strike. So to lash. So thus speaking, she plied her, or she lashed the asses, the donkeys, with her shining whip. Haide oka lipon, and they quickly left the streams of the river. Now this we get a verb here. This is the imperfect from trokao, which is just an epic form from trecho. We've seen before that strophao for strepho. We get for example nomao for nemo, and in this epic, and this is trokao for connected with trecho. So they were running beautifully. Pil sonta is a funny verb. It possibly connected with pleco. It's the idea of intertwining or interweaving their feet. So we could translate it as prancing or something. So they were running beautifully and they were prancing well with their feet. And she, Aeniokuan, this is from Keod, she let out the reins, Mala, very much, so that, again, another one of these sonnet ends. This is the third person plural from Hepamai, so that they might, and it's the octative, so that they might follow on foot along at the same time, both the servants and Odysseus. And Hupabalen, Himastlane again is the whip, so she applied the whip, with judgment, with thought, so perhaps thoughtfully. And the sun set, and they came to the famous, well-known Alsos, the grove, the sacred one of Athena, where, so that's the other use of Hina, where then glorious Odysseus sat down. And there then Aratot from Aramai, he prayed to the daughter of great Zeus. Cluthimu, we've had this expression before when she was when praying to a human or addressing a human, but normally this expression is limited to praying to gods and goddesses. So hear me, daughter of Aegis-bearing Zeus, and this is another one of the names of Athena. It means generally rendered the unwearied one, but I think the etymology is not completely secure. And now then, hear me, and the emphasis here is on now, nunde. Hear me now, since previously you did not hear me when I was ryomenoi, passive, when I was being smashed or being shattered, being wrecked, when the well-known earth shaker, this of course is Poseidon, Erae, was hitting me, was smashing me, was wrecking me. Grant for me to come as someone dear and pitied among the Phaeacians. And thus he spoke in prayer, and Pallas Athena heard him. But not yet did she appear directly opposite him, for, this is Ra for Ara, as you might expect, Idatot, she had respect for her patracasigneton, the brother of her father, that is her uncle, and he, that is Poseidon, Menyainen, was angry, epitaphelos, he was furiously angry. This fel root in here is like our word to swell. It's connected with that. He was swollen up with anger against godlike Odysseus. Paros, and takes an infinitive, before he came to his land. We get a personal adjective here, agreeing with Guion. So he was extremely angry with him before Odysseus, with godlike Odysseus, before he arrived in his land. And that's the end of Book 6.